Hi, I'm Teresa Lisum coming to you with my beautiful guest co-host, Jennifer Regular, and we're evolving women. I'm evolving, you're evolving, we're all evolving. Let's just help each other to evolve. And our intention here today, and with every episode, is to just offer the world and you uplifting messages, new perspectives, maybe plant some new seeds, offer you some tools, some resources, some wellness ideas, some mindset or self belief shifts. All of it laid out here for you to give you permission to be your best self and live your best life. So, welcome to Evolving Women. We're going to speak about and explore and maybe dissect and see where it takes us the topic of beyond perfect, your personal evolution, which is a really juicy, dense topic that we could probably talk for hours on,
Oh,
multiple
yeah.
days. So I'm going to let you kind of get started with that, Jennifer, if you're okay with that. And
Oh, sure.
what does this, how did this come up for you? Well, maybe we'll start there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? My whole journey has been about evolution and taking so many different twists and turns and pivots and really finding power in that, but also questioning that quite a bit. Having had, 16 different jobs within the social service field and then like eight or so different business ventures that I had around transforming people's lives through healing and empowerment and spiritual wellness and all of that, all the different places I lived, all the different places I've traveled to, and thinking that each time I landed in one of those jobs or business ventures or places to live or places that I went to travel to, I'm like, this is it. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
This is like my forever thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't because I reached
Mm-hmm.
this plateau or it became misaligned with what I truly valued, how I wanted to be serving in the world or who I thought I was. And realizing a lot of the times I was moving through like this dense fog standing for fear, obligation, and guilt, living up to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, other people's expectations. How many of you out there can relate? I'm
Right.
sure I'm seeing some hands through the screen here. So every time I went through that, it was like trying to get it right, trying to do everything perfect, trying to, be the best me and be the best role model that I can be within a rolling type of position. And I realized it was more that I wanted to connect soul to soul. And so that's what I
Mm,
started focusing more on. And I find that each of these times I switched into something different, it was like a different assignment or a rite of passage that took me beyond the idea of getting things right and doing things
mm,
perfectly to being in our personal evolution, really finding into our, like tapping into our personal growth,
mm,
and realizing that it's not that we made a wrong decision or took a wrong turn. It was that we were evolving.
oh my gosh,
It
I
wasn't any
love
one
that.
right thing. I mean, can
Mhm.
you relate to any of this, Teresa?
That is just, I love everything you're saying. I always thought, eh, I mean, I was in the same job for 25 years,
Mm,
and that was like where I came from. That was a thing to do. I mean, I've seen people in the same place, the same job for 40 years, which I can't even imagine that. And it almost was like looked down upon if you made a pivot, if you switched, if you did something different. And now you're kind of saying it's okay to pivot, make changes. You're evolving. You need to step into a new role or a new way of being instead of feeling obligated to stay stuck in this box that maybe society or family, whoever else, your community feels, well, this is the way it is, and this is what we do. And if you do something different, then that's a bad thing, or you're a failure, or so, yeah, this is huge. I love your perspective that you are evolving through all these different points.
Yes,
Um,
and I mean that's what the whole women's movement from many years ago and still a process has evolved into too, right? Redefining our path and purpose and our role
mhm.
in our families and society and our communities. You know what that looks like.
Yeah,
And there
that.
is some downsides to it though. I have to say, Teresa, is that we also can lose the art of intuition, of women's intuition.
Mm,
I mean,
mm,
we all have intuition, men do as well. They'll more likely call it gut feelings, you know,
mhm,
but we all have that sense. And with women becoming like the leaders and CEOs and so on, like these big authoritative kind of positions
mhm,
now, and still trying to parent or, run the household as well, that we are so driven that we lose touch with the softness. We can
mhm,
really feel pressurized and really feel almost hard and tight and maybe a little resentful on some level, even, and taking on
mhm,
so much more that we kind of buried that soft voice inside, the sense of self compassion. I mean, so many women out there still call self care selfish because
mhm.
there's that, misbelief that that's what it is, if you take
Right,
time for yourself
right.
when it's really about self responsibility. But, that's another topic. But understanding that we've, for many years now, have been redefining our path and purpose. And we get to
Mhm,
do that more and more because life, the energy, the cosmic energy, the changes that are happening are at such an accelerated rate now, and that's why it's so important. And one thing I like to really focus on too is soul care and keeping our spirit intact because we can really get thrown off balance. But when we can keep what's true in front of us, then we won't get lost that way. So being able to listen to our intuitive guidance, to be able to take inspired action
mhm,
rather than, be motivated by obligation, you know. So instead shift into being motivated by our passion and
mhm,
our inspirations, our ideas, our creative ability, especially as women, but as however you want to identify, you know?
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so many juicy pieces that you just spoke about. Redefining our passion and our purpose, and
Mm,
having the permission to do that,
yeah.
and following our intuition. You're right. Like, I'm really trying to get back to that myself
Mm,
and really allow that to guide me as opposed to my head, because
mhm.
I've been very head oriented my whole life up until, I don't know, the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, where I'm trying to allow my heart and my intuition to guide me and pull me towards that passion. And we need to give ourselves that permission, give other people permission to follow their own passion, not making any judgments. And I love that you said, like, I had, what's that quote about, if you are rudderless, then you're, and I know when we're done, I'll find that quote, where if you don't have something to guide you, like your intuition
Mm,
or your joy or your bliss, and you're rudderless, then you're knocked around by the winds and the waves, and you're basically not getting anywhere because you're doing what everybody else wants you to do, which is
yes.
basically how I grew up.
Ah,
You know, do you know what quote I'm going towards, or there's a concept or about,
yeah, and I
maybe
can
I should
share
just,
a couple concepts because I think they're great constructs sometimes of a way to think about things, and kind of give a new perspective. And that one thing is that balance comes from living your truth. And
mm,
you mentioned about passion, and I think this ties in so beautifully because the way I see passion, when you break up the word, it's pass I on,
mm,
pass I on, and
wow,
that I
love that.
soul's expression. Yeah, that I being your soul's expression,
Mm,
what you're here to pass on in this lifetime.
wow.
Yes, and
That
that's
is fabulous.
owning your truth, living your truth, and that's where true balance actually comes from, is living
Mhm.
in that truth and really tapping into your true passion, which is that I that
Yeah.
you're here to pass on. So no matter what role you actually take, It's your soul's expression through that that
Mm,
is being received on the other end, you know?
wow. I have
And
never heard that about that word,
mm,
passion.
mhm,
That kind of gives me a new perspective on my own passion or
mhm,
passions. And that's another thing. Are we like sometimes some of us have limiting beliefs or thoughts that you only get one passion.
mhm,
But yet I'm finding when I talk to so many women entrepreneurs, women in general, they are multi-passionate. They have
mhm.
lots of things that they want to do or they're doing or they love. And that's okay. I think that's
So those are the ones I
fabulous.
work with, the multi-passionates.
Yeah, they're just, and but yet I grew up thinking, you pick one thing and that's the one you focus on your life, and which some people are like that.
Mhm,
They're able to move forward on a mission or a passion that they spent a lifetime working towards, or which is good. That's great. I always kind of was jealous of people like that. But yet there's something to be said about that focus on the one or the multi-passionate. They both hold value, and there's no right or wrong for either one of them,
yeah.
so just be able to embrace whichever one you happen, whichever side of the spectrum you happen to be
Mhm,
landing in at that point in time. And
yeah.
if it changes, it changes. Oh well. But yet our society sometimes frowns upon that.
Yeah. And that's too bad.
It
You
is
know,
too
it's
bad. It
we're
is too
here,
bad.
but we have the people to serve, and the ones that we're here to serve will hear us, will see us,
Hmm.
and will understand, you know?
Yeah,
And
and that's
there's multiple passions, and it's all in multiple like purposes that we have too. Our real purpose is to have this human life, this human
hmm
experience. That's our purpose, right? But these different passions that we may be pursuing are just different expressions of our
hmm
soul, our core essence of who we are. And it's really our energy and passion that creates the greatest impact. So no matter what we're doing, we are who we are through that. Some things are going to bring out more of ourselves to become a fuller expression of who we are. And that's where we have the potency. So we're always gathering different skills and abilities. At some point, some of us are lucky enough to understand our true impact, which is our potency, where
mm,
we feel most fully aligned in our values, our beliefs, and our opinions, and who we are. And we're operating from that higher space, from our higher self, from our soul's essence. And we're actually
hmm
led by soul instead of, as you said, the mind. What
hmm
we think we should be or should be doing to be
hmm
accepted and approved in society and be perfect.
right, right.
Yeah.
Which goes back to, the topic that we started with, the title, the concept, beyond perfect. Yeah, that perfect can hold so many connotations and hold people to a standard that they can't even achieve at any point. But
Mm.
I there's so many directions we could go with this. And I don't want to, not at this point in this episode, but maybe in an upcoming episode. I mean, even everything that you just mentioned is it could be a whole different episode all in and of itself. But I just wish I had been given permission to follow my passion, to be multi passionate,
Mhm.
to it was okay to pivot. It was okay to fail. It was okay to see it as an evolution and not as something that was wrong with me.
Mhm.
And I would love people at a younger age, women especially at a younger age, to understand that.
Mhm.
It took me way too long to get clarity on that and understanding of that, which I think happens. A lot of women get to an age where they have these epiphanies, but
Mhm.
why does it have to take that long? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we need to make sure this information and these ideas are out for women and men to hear and to grasp onto and understand way earlier in their life,
Yeah.
even kids. Um, and break free of societal expectations and limitations and beliefs that really aren't even true, but yet we buy into them
Mm-hmm.
because that's how we're brought up. Yeah, I would have loved to have this knowledge, people like you in my life that were giving me messages different than the messages I grew up with, which that was just my journey. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't bad, but it would have been, I would probably be in a different place, a different person if I had those messages earlier on instead of, after 50, after 55. So, yeah, so that's what we're doing here today. We're offering the information, we're planting the seeds, we're allowing women to see that, yes, we're all in this evoluting evolution paths together, and whatever direction it goes, it's perfectly fine. It's acceptable. Don't worry about what's other people externally are saying or doing, or, follow that intuition. Come back to that center point.
Mm-hmm.
Tap into that inner knowing and allow that to guide you forward.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, any other words you want to share with us, any other wisdom before we wrap this up today?
Just say yes to yourself. Just say
Mm.
yes to yourself. Like with all the things that you grew up with, Teresa, and here you are on this platform, Evolving Women. You always have been and always are the person you're becoming,
Mm,
and you're here now, and the timing is perfect.
that is
Timing
true.
is perfect.
That is true. And I need to give myself grace for that. We can be our worst enemy and our harshest critic. But I love that, yes, we give you, our viewers, our listeners, permission to say yes to yourself. Love that.
Yes.
So that's a good note to finish up on, I think.
Yes.
But yes, I love that. Awesome. All right, my friend. Thank you so much, Jennifer. This has been enlightening, delighting, insightful. Thank you so much. We
Oh, thank you so
appreciate you
much, Teresa.
sharing,
And thanks for
sharing your
everyone
wisdom.
watching.
Your wisdom, your wisdom. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Appreciate you. And I look forward to chatting again with you.
Yeah, me too. Bye for
Okay.
now.
Bye-bye.